This is Matt Jones, and to look at me today, you wouldn't know I was born with a club foot, and for the longest time, I could hardly walk. But thanks in part to the free expert medical care that I got at the Shriners Hospital, I went on to play in 3 Rose Bowls and helped the Washington Huskies win a national championship. If you know a child the Shriners might be able to help, please call this toll-free number. Shriners help kids get back on their feet.
1-800-237-5055.
Channel 3, Burlington.
This is a Fox Sports presentation.
Mama said life was like a game of football. When I was a little boy, Mama told me to take my football and just run. That's what I do now. I run everywhere with my football.
Terry, what are you doing?
I'm practicing in the openings to our shows, Howie.
Opening?
Would you like a piece of chocolate?
You know, you are pathetic. Didn't you hear they canceled these things?
Why?
Well, apparently the bigwigs upstairs and the viewers have had enough of your ranting and raving the rest of the hour. They don't want to see you in the opening.
Howie, I was just in Chicago the other day, and I saw Steve Walsh's mama, and she told me that Steve, he likes to watch all our openings.
Well, do you ever think maybe somebody calls Steve Walsh's mama and let her know you're sucking up to her son?
Whoa! I don't suck up to nobody.
You know what? I called Art Shell this week, want to talk about the Saints. All the guy wanted to talk about was the openings. How funny you are. Same thing with Deion.
Deion Sanders? Get out of here.
He loves me. He hates your guts. But it's not important. Here, talk to this guy.
Hey, is that right?
I'm afraid it's true. According to our ratings, these reruns of Beavis and Butthead are just not pulling in the view.
Wait a minute, Beavis and Butthead?
Yes, Mr. Beavis, Mr. Butthead. These numbers don't lie, and it indicates right here that the...
Hold on. We're football. Fox NFL Sunday, you seen the show?
I thought you guys were on strike. Listen, why don't you guys just go back to whatever it was you were doing and pretend I was never even here?
Stupid is as stupid does.
You know, man, you're starting to scare me. We need to get you some help. Let's go.
I'm gonna go play football with my mama's house.
Week number 12. The playoff races are just heating up. The teams that catch fire now can dream about that cool-looking ring come January. It's the NFL on Fox. Today, Gus is thinking about avoiding Schuler's nightmare, while Mr. Aikman comes back home to revive the Dallas Dream. Barry wants a shot at the ring so bad he's seeing double, while the Bears are aiming to keep winning by walking the Walsh walk one more time. The Minister of Defense is gunning to make Buffalo extinct, while Mr. Kelly tries to punctuate his performance instead of the problem. Down in the Big Easy, they'd settle for another tough win. But nobody rushes on Chester without raising a ruckus. Tampa Bay's bucking to save Sammy, while this Seahawk has no plans to eat crow. Atlanta's got to rise and shine without suspended Andre. Peachy. But then there's Elway, who plans to paint Denver back into the playoff picture. After last week's clash with Cleveland, Philly tries to fly right. But even without Verline, Buddy still thinks the playoffs are in the cards. Now, live from Movie-Town, it's the NFL pregame show that's, well, it's kind of like a box of chocolates. Fox NFL Sunday.
Hello and welcome to Fox NFL Sunday. Week 12 is upon us. The bye weeks are behind us, and indeed all 28 teams will be in action today. Now, for those teams wishing to remain in action beyond Christmas weekend, now is the time to cut the talk and walk the walk. I'm James Brown, and luckily some of us around here get paid to talk a little bit, but the question is, who talked Terry into playing Forrest Gump?
I tell you, Jimmy, it scared me. It scared me. I mean, some people, method acting, the guy was Forrest Gump.
No method acting.
It scared me.
Hey, Terry, now tell me the truth. Did you have indoor plumbing growing up? Tell me.
Jimmy, we were uptown. We had a two-holer.
Oh, my goodness. So, if you need a flashlight and some shoes to go use the outhouse, you just might be
A redneck.
Oh. All right, folks, we got a lot more coming. Now let's take a look at what's happening around the NFL. On Wednesday, Stan Kroenke, the St. Louis businessman negotiating with the LA Rams, contacted the Hugh Culverhouse estate to discuss a possible purchase of the Buccaneers for a move to St. Louis. Now, the Rams, concerned about the development, intensified their negotiations with Kroenke and made considerable progress towards selling 35% of the team to facilitate their deal to relocate with St. Louis. Well, the NFL's newest head coach, Jeff Fisher, will make his debut Monday night in the Oilers game, that against the Giants. Fisher is in an unusual situation, essentially having been given a 6-game audition for the Houston job. Oilers owner Bud Adams has built an out clause into Fisher's contract for after the season should Adams decide to pursue a big-name coach in order to fill out any empty Astrodome seats. Fisher has told Fox Sports that he is comfortable with the arrangement, which also leaves him free to pursue other coaching positions. And by the way, Fisher is still waiting for the phone to ring with the congratulatory call from his old mentor, Buddy Ryan. Well, maybe that's because Ryan had other things on his mind after having gotten into a trademark Ryan shouting match with yet another offensive coordinator, the Cards' David Atkins. After last Sunday's victory over the Giants, Ryan ridiculed Atkins for his play selection, which failed to run out the clock and gave the Giants one last chance to pull out the game. NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue got tough this week with one of his favorite owners, the Cowboys' Jerry Jones. Tagliabue fined Jones $10,000 for the Cowboys' failure to report Troy Aikman's thumb injury prior to last Sunday's game with the 49ers. Now, for a look at today's early games, let's go to our Fox Watch. And, of course, we started off this time heading to Joe Buck, who is live in Buffalo for the game between the Bills and the Green Bay Packers. Joe?
All right, JB, it is a beautiful day in Buffalo at Rich Stadium for the Packers and the Bills. The story for the Packers concerns the injuries, and the same for the Bills. And at the top of the list for Buffalo, quarterback Jim Kelly, who was sacked 6 times at Pittsburgh on Monday night. What happened was he bruised and he had a swollen backside of his hand in the knuckle area. He had a tough time gripping the ball. He had to leave the game late. And then add to that during this past practice week, the training staff accidentally cutting tape off his hand put a gash in the underside of his middle finger. So what that means is that every time Jim Kelly gets rid of the football today, he is going to feel that badly bruised and banged up right hand. Add to that for Buffalo that they do not know the playing status of All-Pro defensive end Bruce Smith. We will know in a few minutes and pass that along a little later on the pregame show with Tim Green. Right now, we throw it to Pat Summerall in Dallas. Pat.
And here in Dallas, Joe, we thought the weather would be a prime concern. A little bit earlier, it rained all night. There were 3 high school games played here at Texas Stadium yesterday, and we were concerned about the condition of the field. Now that seems to all have corrected itself. It might be windy, but the weather won't be a problem. Troy Aikman, that subject keeps popping up, that injured thumb last week. You heard about that. He also broke his nose last week, hit here by Charles Mann against the 49ers. Teammates were concerned when they saw blood dripping down his face. That's Emmitt Smith wiping and cleaning Troy's face up. Thumb is okay. He says the nose, he didn't even know it was broken, in fact. So that's the situation here. Norv Turner comes back, and you can bet he'll have some surprises for his old team. Let's send you now to Chicago. Brian Harlan.
Okay, Pat, thank you. Detroit and Chicago today. Few games in the National Football League have the kind of playoff weight this game does between these 2 NFC Central Division rivals. Detroit is on the outside looking in. Chicago at 6-4 as the 6th and final position in the NFC playoff picture. Now, injuries will definitely play a big factor today for the Chicago Bears. Their deep threat Curtis Conway on crutches most of the week. He is out with a thigh bruise. His backup, Tom Waddle, had knee surgery. He is gone. So the 3rd-string wide receiver making his first Chicago start today will be Greg McMurtry. Now for the Detroit Lions on their defensive line, Mark Spindler and Robert Porcher. Injured ankles, both will play, both will start. How much they will play, though, has yet to be seen, and Herman Moore's complement Aubrey Matthews will be a game-time decision with his hamstring. The weather today, a factor. 47 degrees, gusting winds. There is rain and possibly snow in the forecast in JB. This is perfect weather for this black and blue division match between the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. Let's go back out to Hollywood and you.
All right, Kevin, couldn't be that way without the weather. Well, let's look at the early games per day. Coming up later on Fox, you'll see one of the following. Philadelphia heading into Arizona to battle Buddy again. The LA Raiders host the New Orleans Saints. Tampa Bay travels to the Kingdom to face the Seahawks. And the Falcons trek to Mile High Stadium to play the Denver Broncos. Now, in that game, the Falcons will be going without suspended wide receiver Andre Rison. We'll have more on him later in today's program. And before we talk a little bit, we saw how Emmitt Smith was taking care of Troy Aikman and did the same thing for our quarterback here. Look, you were really chomping at the bit on that Buddy Ryan story and all the turmoil going on there.
Yeah, I am, and I want to go right to Jimmy as a former head coach. Jimmy, wouldn't you have to be concerned if you're the head coach and the players primarily seeing this happen? What about respect?
Well, one of the things that we've been hearing about Buddy Ryan, for quite some time is he really causes dissension between the offense and the defense. And, one of these days he's going to get a hold of an offensive coordinator that he can't handle. And really, I think this causes scars that really don't heal. I mean, because, you're not going to, really have a successful team or a successful organization unless everybody's pointing toward the same direction. And all this does is it just disrupts the entire football team.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the thing is a player. If I see a head coach going, and this is nothing new, Buddy Ryan doesn't like offensive players, offensive coach, doesn't like any of them. And historically, he's always had problems with offensive people. But he has implemented his footprint into the offensive game plan in the last few games. And in my mind, it's been unimaginative. And as a player, if a head coach is going after a coach, it shows me a lack of respect from the coach's viewpoint to that coach. And credibility is a big issue in my mind from the player's standpoint.
Yeah, I have yet to see a defensive coach be able to call any offensive plays. I disagree with the fact. Jimmy Johnson.
Wait.
I know.
Tom Landry was a defensive coach, and he calls some offensive plays.
Okay, that's
and
one
Jimmy.
guy.
Well,
but I really have a hard time with a guy. I've defended Buddy all year and said, look, hang on, wait around. Buddy's going to get this thing going. But seems to me like this is an ongoing problem with Buddy Ryan and offense. And until he learns to straighten up, he can forget ever being successful with the Arizona Cardinals.
Jimmy Johnson, defensive coach, 2 Super Bowl rings.
He couldn't call a play. His life depended
Because you called your own plays, right?
Of course I did.
All right, folks, head on out here. That's a look at what's happening around the NFL. Here's what's on tap for today's show.
Today on Fox NFL Sunday. When he's good, he's very good. But when he's bad, he gets suspended. This week, the Falcons clip Rison's wings. Now, Andre airs it out with Fox's Anthony Munoz. 5 starts, 5 wins. They said he couldn't throw long. But who can say how far Steve Walsh will lead the Bears? Terry profiles the man who ended the Bears' hibernation. Tampa Bay's troubles arrived long before he did. Their coach, though, may not be the cause. But so far, he hasn't been the solution. And when it comes to winning, the Bucs are stopped with him. Lonnie Lardner visits the always outspoken Sam Walsh. Coming up, coming at you, only on Fox NFL Sunday.
Most people would jump at the chance. 10 days in South America. But this was business, and I was 5,000 miles from home, trying to keep my bearings, trying to negotiate, sometimes just trying to communicate, all the while hoping to pull this whole thing off so I could head back.
Yeah, I'm going to be another day.
You know, it's funny, being away so long. When you come across something familiar,
Going home, Mr. Reynolds?
it can be a pretty welcome sight.
I'm halfway there.
At BASF, we don't make the cooler. We make it cooler. We don't make the jeans. We make them bluer. We don't make the toys. We make them tougher. We don't make the jet ski. We make it lighter. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy. We make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
A new study presented at a medical conference shows that for the sore muscles occurring the day after a strenuous workout, Advil provides superior relief to extra-strength Tylenol. For next-day soreness, Advil just works better. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
At my school, you can't make mistakes. I get hungry, I reach for Snickers.
Roasted peanuts, milk chocolate, caramel. Snickers satisfies.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Microsoft. Where do you want to go today? By Red Lobster, for the seafood lover in you. By American Airlines, something special in the air. And by Network MCI Business. Install it in your office today.
For Sam Wyche, there have been better times. As a matter of fact, coming within seconds of a Super Bowl victory is just one of those moments. But lately, life is somewhat tumultuous for the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His team is struggling, the fans are irate, and his job is definitely in jeopardy. And Lonnie Lardner is here with a closer look at the man who is, no question, on the hot seat.
You got that right, JB. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are closing in on their 12th consecutive season of double-digit losses. It's a tough time for Buc fans and an even tougher time for head coach Sam Wyche. With the team up for sale and another losing record, conventional wisdom says it's unlikely Sam will be back next year. But the unconventional Wyche is no stranger to challenge. He's always persevered with his sharp sense of humor intact. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are having another dismal season. With a record of 2-8, can any one person be blamed?
Coach is always responsible for a loss.
Is he?
He's always responsible for it. He may not have actually made the mistake or called the play that, you know, that was the ultimate decider of the game, but he's responsible for it. Unfortunately, in team sports, basketball, baseball, football, somebody is blamed for the loss.
It wasn't always this way for Wyche. In 1988, he coached the Cincinnati Bengals to a Super Bowl. Notorious for his strong views on women reporters in the locker room, Wyche has never been one to keep his thoughts to himself.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here? You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
The outspoken Wyche has since taken on the unenviable task of trying to turn around the team with the worst record in NFL history.
No smiles. Don't let up, man. Don't get these suckers down. Don't let up.
At this point, nobody said anything to you about your position with this team. No one said a word?
No, I know for a fact, at least I've been told, and I know and trust the person that told me, Steve Story, that they would hope that this team stays in Tampa and that I get to finish the 5-year contract that I started 3 years ago. You
initially said at one point, and if you did, do you regret it, that the team was going to make the playoffs this year? Did you say that?
I made the statement that, you know, we're beating teams that are going to the playoffs this year. If we can play this well all year next year, we ought to be in the hunt. And then in a chuckle, somebody said, does that mean you're guaranteeing the playoffs? And in a chuckle, I said, well, I might as well. That's what you'll write anyway. Wyche guarantees playoffs. You'd have to be an idiot or, you know, a soothsayer to guarantee the playoffs, and I'm only one of those.
All right, the Bucs are 1-3 and sinking. A lot of fans are calling for Sam Wyche's head.
How do you function, given all the rumors about change with this team?
I've been in the business too long to worry about the rumors. And does it bug me sometimes? Yep. Does it get me down sometimes? Do I come in and actually ruin my wife's evening by staring into space and you know, and being on some other planet? Yeah.
I saw somebody holding up a sign that said, rest in peace, Sam Wyche. When you see stuff like that, does it hurt your heart?
I walk away from this game. If I walk away from it anytime soon, I hope it's not, but if I do, I have been a player in a Super Bowl, a position coach in a Super Bowl, a head coach in a Super Bowl. How lucky can I get? If part of the price is I have to see someone that took the time to write rest in peace, jeepers, I hope I do.
Okay, Sam, now one other point about Sam's future. As you know, the Bucs are up for sale, and until the ownership is settled, the coaching situation will also remain unclear. But JB, he's an accomplished pilot and an amateur magician. There's no telling. He's got options which way he's going to go.
A good man in a real tough situation.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thanks, Lonnie. You know, coming off their big win Monday night against the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers face the Miami Dolphins in a key AFC matchup today. Fox's Eric Clemens is live in Pittsburgh with a preview of that game. How goes it, Eric?
Goes pretty well, JB. A little cloudy and cool out here. Supposed to be in the 50s at game time. Both teams have 7-3 records, and both are struggling mightily on offense, especially the Steelers, who have no offensive touchdowns in 10 quarters, only 2 offensive touchdowns in their last 4 games. So Coach Cowher is going to make a change at quarterback. He's going with Mike Tomczak over Neil O'Donnell this afternoon. Tomczak took most of the snaps at center or from center at practices this week. He told me earlier he's going to try to ensure they get touchdowns when they get in the red zone today, which they haven't been doing lately. On the injury front, Bam Morris is out, but Barry Foster, who's almost fully recovered, is in at halfback, and tight end Eric Green with that pulled hamstring is going to give it a go today. He's going to start. The Dolphins have some problems offensively of their own, and it's created some dissension in the ranks. Some of it centered around Dan Marino and his competitive tongue lashing that he's given teammates, sometimes even on the field. Some of them quite offended by his reaction, and we'll see if the no-huddle offense that they're going to try to deploy at some points today will straighten those kind of things out. That's the story from here at Three Rivers in Pittsburgh. Let's go back to our Hollywood studios in James Brown. JB?
All right, Eric, thank you very much, and we will have a lot more on that competitive tongue lashing that Eric talked about as far as Dan Marino and his receivers in just a bit. Folks, there's a lot more to come your way when we come back here to Hollywood. Terry Bradshaw has a report card on Steve Walsh, whose 5-0 record as a starter is making the grade for the Bears. And we're happy to report that Andre Rison, suspended by Coach June Jones, showed up on time for his interview with Anthony Munoz.
I think that I don't deserve to be suspended, but, you know, whatever actions you had to take, you know, you could have took them, and I would have accepted them. I'm accepting this one, but I still feel that as though I shouldn't have been suspended.
And Jim Kelly has thrown for 12 interceptions this season, has lost 2 straight games, hasn't lost 3 straight since 1989. Back with more after this.
Panasonic presents a unique and highly evolved smooth operator. The Smooth Operator 2 with float control is the only razor to unite the comfort of twin independent floating heads with the closeness of a warm, wet shave. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. The Smooth Operator wet-dry razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be.
For years, you've had the same 2 colas.
Daphne! Daphne!
Hey, it's never too late to change your mind. RC Cola, shake things up.
Shake it, no dandruff. You've got Selsun Power. Brush it, no flakes. You've got Selsun Power with Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it #1 over all leading brands. Dandruff problem? No way. You've got Selsun Power.
At the end of the day, more top mechanics in America choose One Motor Oil over any other brand to help keep their own cars running longer. Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline.
This Sunday, for one day only, Sears is having one big sale. Starting at 9 a.m., you make your own sale. Take 10% off everything, even sale prices. 10% off every washer, dryer, stereo, big screen TV, every towel, sheet, blouse, sweater, saw, treadmill, and much more throughout the store. And if it's already on sale, take off another 10%. That's an extra 10% off sale prices, too. 10% off everything. One day only, it's one big sale at Sears.
A message from Vermont law enforcement and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Vermont police officers investigate over 7,000 crashes a year. It seems like a never-ending job, and most of these crashes could have been prevented.
About 90% of all highway crashes occur due to driver error, despite our best efforts to educate people about highway safety. Please protect yourself and loved ones from drivers who don't obey traffic laws. Use child safety seats and have everyone buckle up.
Everybody loves their pets, but brushing and grooming can be difficult and costly. Introducing Miracle Pet Brush. These soft fingers will brush, groom, and massage. Watch. Miracle Pet Brush removes dust, dirt, and dead hair instantly from your pet. Miracle Pet Brush grooms long hair, short hair, even works on curly or frizzy hair. Miracle Pet Brush gets into all those difficult places that are almost impossible to groom with an ordinary brush. Your pets will love this soft, gentle massaging action. Even use Miracle Pet Brush brush for shampooing. It's made of water-resistant vinyl. Pet hair on your upholstery and carpet? The Miracle Pet Brush comes to your rescue. A few strokes and the unwanted hair is gone. Horse owners even use the Miracle Pet Brush for brushing and grooming. Love your pet with the Miracle Pet Brush and brush away your pet problems forever. Miracle Pet Brush, only $9.99 from K-Tel.
Available at Zellers, Kmart, Home Hardware, V&S Department Stores, and Pro Hardware.
I helped grow crops and grew a lot myself.
To thousands of Americans, Peace Corps was the memory of a lifetime.
It was the best experience I ever had.
Your experience can help you do something memorable. Call Peace Corps. It's still the toughest job you'll ever love.
It takes so little to save our waters for future generations. Using less toxic household cleaners and fewer lawn care chemicals protects so much. Helps stop water pollution forever. Clean water. If we all do a little, we can do a lot.
You take a look at Barry Sanders' numbers. Those are quite impressive, despite the quarterback problems in Detroit, and those numbers come when everyone in the stadium knows he's getting the ball. And although his overall stats pale in comparison to others, Chicago quarterback Steve Walsh does one thing well. He wins games. And Terry, you had a chance to travel to Chicago and talk to this guy. Are folks really surprised that he is 5-0 as a starter?
Well, JB, let's look at it like this. There's a lot of people who say that Steve Walsh shouldn't be the starting quarterback. So I'll put it to you like this. Folks, if you had the guy, you like the guy you had in there, and you like turnovers, and if you like losing football games, then Steve Walsh isn't your quarterback. But Dave Wannstedt, the real disciple here of our man Jimmy Johnson, he knows when he has a winner at the quarterback helm, and it's Steve Walsh. I thought of a song that describes you.
Taking care of business. Taking care of business.
That pretty well sums you up, doesn't it?
I think so. You know, I mean, I've been in every game. I've kind of done what I had to do.
Even with the record of 5-0 as a starter, Steve Walsh does not have a lock on his job.
You know, I mean, if they make a change in 3 weeks or whatever, then so be it.
3 weeks? He may only be the starter for the next 3 quarters. Coach and Eric Kramer are getting antsy.
If we're in a ball game, and it might be Detroit this week, then Steve's out of sync. He's, whatever reason, Eric's ready to go, and Eric's capable of coming in and winning for us, and we do it.
The big knock on Walsh, his arm. No strength, no zip. His passes wobble and float.
It's not one of those passes where you have to really brace yourself to catch it, and it's not one of those where, you know, it's going to come real slow, so you have to wait on it. I think he has a nice ball.
Not one of those where you say, which end do I want to catch?
Exactly, exactly.
I secretly put together a report card on our man Walsh, and then I asked him to grade himself on a scale of 0 to 10.
Rate your arm.
In what degree?
Strength, you know.
Strength. Throwing it straight down the field as far as I can do it. I don't know, probably 6 or 7.
I gave you a 7. Mobility.
6.
I gave you a 6. Poise. What do you think?
10.
I gave you a 9. Toughness.
Maybe 8 or 9, I don't know.
I gave you an 8. Your brains.
10.
That's what I gave you, 10. Once again, we think alike.
I grade on a curve, so I gave my man an A. He excels in the short passing game. He doesn't cough up the ball much. And with the so-so supporting cast, it is understandable why he believes in the NFL's version of supply-side economics.
As old coaches sometimes say, you never go broke taking a profit. That's the way I play the game. If the guy's open in 5 yards, I'm going to take it.
Walsh reminds me of another quarterback, old Lenny Dawson. Now, Dawson wasn't spectacular, but he was good, and he always seemed to come out on top. And Steve is the exact same way.
He kind of reminds me of McMahon. He just goes up there. He's very simple, but he gets the job done. He's not quite as crazy as Jim McMahon.
Who is? If Steve takes the Bears to the top, the team's theme song will not be the Super Bowl Shuffle. Here's what it'll be. Hit it, maestro.
Taking care of business.
You gotta love it, right?
You're
You gotta love
singing.
it. Jimmy, I find it hard to believe that people still want to bench this guy. It blows my head away.
Well, Terry, I understand it because I have to plead guilty as one of those who really didn't give him the respect. And that's what, you know, the coaches around the league, they really don't feel like he's got the ability to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
5-0.
I know, but you know that's everybody gets caught up in statistics and arm strength, but the guy wins game. I tell you a little story. When he was my quarterback at University of Miami, we went undefeated. We won the national championship. The next spring, I said the quarterback job is up for grabs. He's going to have to win it again. But I tell you what, the guys held on to the job, and he wins ball games. He's doing a great job for Chicago.
And that's the story there. Dave Wannstedt, in my mind right now, and I know he doesn't like the spotlight, Jim, but he is the coach of the year at this point. The fact that the Bears are qualifying with this team, this is not a very talented team. Dave Wannstedt plays people that help him win, regardless of where they were drafted or how much money they're making. He is the coach of the year at this point. This team has no right qualifying for playoffs right now.
Qualify?
Qualify.
At the ham. Hey, looking at those grades, you could be a scout.
Hey, I don't drink enough beer, and I'm not 50 pounds overweight.
Hey, JB, Steve Walsh is a free agent, and I just wonder how many teams are going to fight for him to go to their club. I bet he stays in Chicago.
If they're smart, they'll try to keep him in Chicago, as you mentioned.
Right.
All righty, with wild card playoff hopes barely still alive, the Atlanta Falcons meet the Denver Broncos in Mile High Stadium, where there's a possibility of snow. However, there is no possibility of Andre Rison playing. As we told you earlier, Rison's been suspended for today's game by the head coach, June Jones. This year, he's been late for over 20 team functions and fined exactly $60,000. And a total of nearly $120,000 is more than 1/6 of his salary. Now, he feels today's suspension isn't warranted, believe it or not, and in this exclusive interview with our Anthony Munoz, he explains why and what effect it has on his teammates.
Do you feel that you, in any way, have let the team down, your teammates down by what happened?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that I don't deserve to be suspended, but you know, whatever actions you had to take, you know, you could have took them, and I would have accepted them. I'm accepting this one, but I still feel that as though I shouldn't have been suspended because of some of the things other players have done that's more detrimental to our team. You know, we got guys on our team really don't give a damn about our team. You know, they said it publicly. They said it throughout the teammates. They said it through the locker room. Coaches know it, and they still don't take actions. And then I'm a minute, 2 minutes late to a special team meeting, and you suspend me.
Tell me a little bit about your feelings and emotions towards June Jones.
I was happy for him, and I'm still happy for him. You know, everyone wants to know, well, have my feelings changed towards him? I don't think your feelings can change towards a person that fast, but I'm still kind of disappointed at the decision that was made because I felt that, you know, I deserved better. But I was wrong, so.
Do you see yourself being a Falcon next year? And what are some of the teams you might want to play for?
For some reason, I just think, you know, the time is up here, and it's time for me to move on. And I always said I wanted to play with Barry Sanders, and so that's a long shot in the head, you know, to get the opportunity to play with Barry, because I feel he's in the same boat and been in the same boat I have. He went to a young team and he performed well, but at the same time, he still didn't get the things that he deserved and the accolades he deserved. I think he got all his accolades on his own, and he went out and took them. And I felt that I was in the same boat. And now we get the opportunity, you know, to play together. It'll be a dream come true.
They talk about this baggage that you're carrying.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel, if any, will that affect you in the free agency market, or what's your feeling on that?
I really don't care about it, and they shouldn't either, because whatever happened or whatever's been done is in the past and it's gone.
Do you feel that the games remaining after this Bronco game are going to be more important than ever for you as a player?
Oh, they definitely will. I mean, because they could be my last year in Atlanta. Despite the decision the coach made, I still have relationships with my players on the team, with my teammates, and I can't look them eye to eye and not be giving 100%, you know, even though we got guys on our team that don't. And I'm not afraid to say it now because I'm tired of being the one that's a victim when really somebody else should be the victim.
Wow, I mean, there's no question that Andre Rison is a supreme performer on the field, but he has to know that there is a line. But, Jimmy, where would you have drawn the line as far as being late?
Well, I only suspended one player the time I was in Dallas.
Was that the guy that fell asleep in the meeting?
No, I cut him. But you know, what I ask this, I say, how can it get to this point to where he was late for 20 different meetings, 20 times he was late? It should have never come to this. And once he's suspended, it's over with. And I think the people in Atlanta, they're going to regret that because he's a great player. I know as a coach, as a former coach, I would love to have an Andre Rison on my football team. He's a great competitor, a great player, but you have to make sure he toes the line and he does what he's supposed to do as a team player.
Yeah, I'll tell you, 13 years in the NFL, I was never late. I viewed it as a lack of respect for the coach. Andre Rison is a great player, one of the elite wide receivers in the NFL. But Andre, you're making a lot of money. You got to show up on time.
Would you have suspended him or just heaped another fine on him?
No, I would have suspended him.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and he wants to go to Detroit because that's his hometown, and he went to Michigan State.
Okay, well, that's what they did. They did, in fact, suspend him. He will not be playing today. Coming up, the Bills have fallen back to the pack. Today, they'll face a pack on the rise in the NFC, and we'll have a report from Buffalo. And audibles before the snap. Are they the quarterback's best friend or the coach's worst nightmare? This one here led to a Miami touchdown.
And this holiday season, Radio Shack has a 486 AST Advantage computer on sale for the incredible price of $49 a month for 24 months with no interest.
Hey, there's lots of good reasons to buy one for the family. Dolores could balance her checkbook with it. Little Jimmy can do his homework. I can put the money we save right into his college fund. 0% interest, 24 months, $49 a month only at Radio Shack.
Strong. To win, you've got to be smart. Maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
At last, the whole idea of satellite television has come down to Earth. Introducing Prime Star. Prime Star sends the best of cable, pro sports, and hit movies to these new small dishes. There's no equipment to buy or maintain. Prime Star's a service that does it all. All starting at the down-to-earth price of about $1 a day. All you have to do is call 1-800-PRIME-STAR.
When you're the eyes and ears of a million people, you can't let your stomach get in the way. So I carry Snickers.
Roasted peanuts, milk chocolate, caramel. Snickers satisfies.
My dandruff and itch are awful. I'll try anything. Denorex tingles. Head and Shoulders doesn't.
Both have effective dandruff medicine, but Denorex has something extra that tingles, feels fresh.
That's why I started using Denorex. No flakes, no itch.
Denorex, the serious dandruff shampoo.
Sterling Sharp having a decent season. As you take a look, he's got 51 catches for 545 yards, but the team is trying to spread the ball around to others besides Sharp. And communication between players is a key component of a team's success. Now, this is best exemplified by the way a quarterback conveys his play calling to the team at the line of scrimmage. In today's RC Cola playbook, Terry and Jimmy take a look at the different ways an offense takes shape at the moment of truth. Right now, we head over to Professor Bradshaw.
Thank you, JB. George, nice shot. Red 38! Red 38! Huh? What? What do you mean you can't hear? Get over here! You hear this a lot, and we see it a lot in the NFL, where we have mass confusion because receivers can't hear what the quarterback is audibleizing to. An audible is when he changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Here's the real secret to it and how I play the game. If you're in a hostile environment and you have to worry about crowd noise and you can't make adjustments at the line of scrimmage, the safest thing to do, if you're going to run a running play, you have to stay with it. You can't make changes. No one can hear it. But you can call a passing play, Jimmy, and you can drop back, and receivers will adjust their routes according to the coverage, whether it's man or zone, and you escape. We saw Monday night, for example, Jim Kelly and Andre Reed getting into it because Reed couldn't hear the audible. I disagree with quarterbacks that single out players and make them look foolish in front of thousands of people as if it's their fault. Now, that's one way. Make the audible, just call a pass. The other thing, we know in Miami, Marino's having problems, and his receivers aren't real happy with him.
Well, Terry, really, you got to correct the problems without really getting hostile about it. Everybody knows Dan Marino's a competitor, and his old receivers, Clayton and Duper, they understood that. But with some of the new receivers, they're starting to be offended by it because they say it makes them look like they don't know what they're doing.
They're embarrassed.
Yeah, they're all embarrassed about it. And Marino's a competitor. He's going to scream. He's going to holler. And they've got to soothe that over. Now, the other thing, Marino got into it with Gary Stevens, hollering about the play calling. And, now they're going to run a little bit more no huddle, a little bit more of Marino calling his own plays at the line of scrimmage so that he won't really be getting into it with his receivers and his offensive coordinator.
Yeah, well, I know one thing. If I had to worry about a hostile environment and Chuck Noll came to me and said, Terry, we're going to just let you throw the football today because we can't make audibles. Hey, JB, I would be the happiest quarterback in all of the NFL. So I'm now going to make an audible and pass it back to you.
And as Howie and I know all too well, Terry called all of his own plays. No question about it. When we come back, folks, we're going to take you back up to Buffalo and get a last-minute report on the status of Bruce Smith. And there is Emmitt Smith, who needs just 11 yards for his 4th consecutive 1,000-yard season. Still doing a job. Back in Hollywood after this.
I can get our entire winter catalog out to 2,000 bookstores just like that.
I'm editing Blood of the Pharaohs. This is from the University of Cairo.
Cool.
We're going to make some changes. Not in our ideals, but in the tools that we use.
Total package of online video conferencing and messaging services for American business is now available for your business. Call now and experience the 21st century at a special introductory rate.
Our banker was mortified. 2 successful lawyers, and you have a great law practice. What in the world do you want to lose all your money for? We're in show business. We're having fun.
Our dream is to open a restaurant in Rome.
We cannot wait until we have barbecue chicken pizza in Rome.
We have something like 4,000 employees now.
The American Express corporate card makes managing our business easier for them and easier for us.
The American Express corporate card can help you get a bigger slice of the pie.
The amazing split-fire spark plug won a United States patent.
Does it really work? Is it that much better?
It's guaranteed. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. You'll feel it work. Guaranteed. A 4.8% gain in mileage. You'll save because it works. Guaranteed. There's nothing like a split fire. You'll get more power and more mileage for your money back. You'll get more here, and you'll spend less here. Guaranteed.
School bus safety starts before the bus ever stops. So be cool. Follow the rules.
Got some snow? Get a Hummer. G-Stone Motors in Middlebury, your Ford, Mercury, and GMC Transportation Center, now has the exclusive franchise in Vermont, upstate New York, and New Hampshire for the Hummer. It's a hill climber, a family carrier, a problem solver, all in one, and it moves across the terrain like a sure-footed animal. It's the ultimate 4x4. It's got to be tough. Its mother wore army boots. Stop in today for a test drive and be prepared to be impressed. That's an order. G-Stone Motors, Route 7 Middlebury, your Hummer dealer.
Same friends since I was a little kid. But this year, some of them started playing with these other kids. And they were, different. And I heard my big brother saying some pretty bad stuff about people like them. But they seem pretty cool. So maybe my brother doesn't know everything.
Hey, Carlos, come on, we need
field. Don't be afraid. Be afraid.
Each being has within itself a part of all other beings. This is the Native American law of oneness, the National Museum of the American Indian, teaching wisdom of the ages. Call 1-800-242-NMAI because there is still so much to learn.
Brett Favre has the Packers on a 3-game winning streak. The important number there, only 8 interceptions after throwing 24 all of last year. And for more on that game, about the Packers and the health of Bruce Smith, we take it now to Tim Green.
Thanks, JB. Well, Monday night was a rough one for the Buffalo Bills, and even the big guy, Bruce Smith, felt the agony of defeat. After undergoing 2 separate MRIs on his shoulder this week, the Bills have just now determined that Bruce Smith will not start. In fact, he will not even dress. He will be replaced by Oliver Barnett, 5th-year free agent out of Atlanta. And the Bills will hope that Cornelius Bennett can pick up the slack in their pass rush. However, as with every cloud, there's a silver lining, and today the silver lining belongs to Brett Favre. He told us yesterday that if Bruce Smith does not take the field, it will make his day, and I can understand why. However, Buffalo fans should not be completely disheartened, because when Bruce Smith has not played in the past, the Bills' record has been 12-2. That's the story here from Buffalo, JB.
All right, Timmy, thank you very much. But Buffalo's trying to creep up from a 5-5 record right now. And as we take a look at Green Bay, a number of issues on both sides of the ball there.
Well, first, the big thing is when you lose a player like Bruce Smith, who in my mind is the premier defensive lineman in professional football today, it's a big blow. Don't let that record fool you, that 12-2 or whatever, without Bruce Smith playing. He's a big factor today. Green Bay's defense, in my mind, is playing good enough right now to take it to the next level, to compete with the Dallas and the San Franciscos of the league. In my mind, for them to be successful, they have to hold on to the ball offensively. Brett Favre has to keep those interception numbers down, and they need to spread the ball around. There's been some speculation maybe they're not getting the ball to Sterling sharp enough. I think that's a positive sign. They need to spread the ball around more. That defense is a championship defense under Fritz Sherman.
Yeah, if they're spreading the football around, they're forcing defenses to have to defend the entire football field, sideline to sideline, and not just go to one side, Sterling Sharp side.
Howie also mentioned Dallas. If, in fact, Green Bay gets by Buffalo today, Dallas is their next opponent on Thanksgiving right here. Now, Dallas is having some problems of its own.
Yeah, in my mind, you know, I don't know what Jimmy's philosophy on this is. You know, they play the New York Giants on Monday night before they play San Francisco 49ers. The biggest game of the year. Now, Barry Switzer's done a good job to this point. I'll give him credit. But he blew it on Monday night, forcing Emmitt Smith to carry the ball 35 times. I don't care if Emmitt Smith wants to stay in the game. You pull him out. That's your job as a head coach. He goes into the San Francisco game with a bad hamstring and a sore shoulder, and it showed up in the fourth quarter in that game. He's questioning his work ethic in the weight room. To me, that's a mistake.
Okay. You don't have anything to say about that?
No, I live there, Jimmy. I live there.
You're going to leave Howie?
I live there. You got kind of quiet on the panel.
Oh, yeah,
Boy, this is good for me.
No, you're doing good.
Jimmy and Howie.
That's Howie Long.
Jimmy and Terry keeping quiet. With that in mind, for a look at other games today in the NFL, it's time to check it out.
Check it out!
Last week, the Browns destroyed the high-flying Eagle offense. Today, they tackle a Chiefs O that's averaged just 12 points the last 3 games. Still, Joe Montana needs just 230 yards passing to become the NFL's 5th 40,000-yard passer. The Colts have stampeded the Bengals the last 5 games at Cincy, but that was before the Bengals unleashed their tiger, bombing Jeff Blake's 3-game stats: 2 wins, 988 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 1 opposing coach fired. The Chargers bolt to New England, where last week the Patriots didn't fire till they saw the whites of the Vikings' eyes. Launching 37 straight passes to overcome a 20-point deficit, Bledsoe drew 2 new records with 45 completions in 70 attempts. Today, expect more of the same because the Chargers lead the AFC in run defense. The Vikings take it out on the Jets today. Together, Moon and Boomer have thrown for over 400 career touchdowns. But Warren leads the NFC's top-ranked passing offense, keeping Carter on track to christen a new record for most catches in a season.
All right, and when we come back, a last-minute look at today's games, including Washington Redskins and Dallas Cowboys. Troy Aikman warming up. His injured thumb has had a full week to heal. He'll be ready in Dallas today. And so is the 1-800-COLLECT Fox Sports virtual reality truck, which is at Texas Stadium today, and then it heads to Anaheim Stadium for the Rams game on December 4th. Back in a bit.
The man, John Madden. Need I say more? Okay, I will. Football. He studies it, analyzes it, puts it in his game. Tough, real tough, full rosters. The all-Madden team. Need I say more? Okay, I will. Stats season long. In his head, in his voice, in his game. What do you want? Real players? You got it. High stats? You got it. Windowless passing? You got it. Madden, he's the man. You think John's got a big head about all this? Give me a break. The guy rides a bus to work. Madden NFL 95. The game. EA Sports. It's in the game.
Serving up another great catch. Red Lobster presents the Catch of the Day. In Week 11, the Saints' Wesley Walsh did it by leaps, while Buffalo's Andre Reed kept it all in bounds. But who made the Catch of the Day?
It's Red Lobster's Lobster Fest, our once-a-year celebration.
It's a lobster party, a maintail celebration. Got rocktails on the fire. Ooh, this is your invitation. It's the grandest, it's the grandest lobster fest. Woo!
Now's your one chance to try new lobster appetizers and 7 of the most exciting lobster dinners ever, all specially priced. But hurry, it ends November 27th.
The grandest lobster fest.
Only at Red Lobster.
The Bengals' Carl Pickens capped off a 3-touchdown performance with a one-handed wonder. Carl Pickens made the Catch of the Day.
Unbelievable!
And for a great catch every day, come to Red Lobster.
For years, you've been fed the same old line, that there are only 2 great-tasting colas to choose from.
Hook up, fish on! Fish on!
Hey, you don't have to swallow that. Drink RC and you'll look at colas in a whole new way.
This is Pete. These are Pete's toys. If Pete's toys don't work, Pete is sad. That's why I see that Pete has plenty of batteries. But I always save one battery for something very important, the smoke detector. A smoke detector protects your family. Install one and keep it working, for Pete's sake.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by RC Cola. Drink RC, and you'll look at colas in a whole new way. RC Cola. Shake things up.
All right, back here in Hollywood for our final thoughts segment, and we start with Coach Johnson.
JB, I look at this Washington-Dallas game, and, the last time they played, it was a complete blowout, but a lot of it was because of turnovers. Reggie Brooks, Heath Shuler. They won't be on the field. It'll be Gus Frerotte now at the quarterback position for Washington. Also, they've had an open date getting ready for this ball game, and Washington's going to take the ball down the field. Dallas has had some problems in the Cincinnati game. Then again last week, taking the ball down the field, really forcing those cornerbacks to cover one-on-one. The other thing, Norv Turner's getting this Washington team ready to play, trying to fire them up a little bit.
Yeah, he sure is. From what I talked to the Washington players, he's had that bulletin board filled with Barry Switzer quotes. The last time they played, Barry had made some derogatory statements regarding that team's talent level.
Still works.
It still works. And in my mind, the Detroit game, Dave Craig, I played against Dave Craig a number of years. He can get hot. If he gets hot today, it could cause Chicago problems. Backup quarterbacks in those 2 teams, Detroit and Chicago, big keys to the game.
One of the things people say, well, Barry Sanders is on a pace to break Eric Dickerson's record, 2,200 yards rushing, and that's true. So what Chicago wants to do today, instead of, you know how you take a linebacker in a 4-3 Jimmy Howell and you flow him down the line of scrimmage and then hit the hole? Well, what the Bears will do today, they're going to bring 8 people up, and everyone is going to be designated a hole. You fly into that hole, don't worry about the flow. And when talking to them, the only thing they're concerned about is they said that the Lions are going to feature Barry and they're going to throw the ball to Herman Moore. And the way we're going to take it away is fill the gaps, rotate to Herman Moore's side, keep a guy in the middle of the field, and he's told his defensive secondary, look, help us on the run, and don't let us get beat deep with the pass. And the problem is, David Craig is an excellent deep ball thrower.
And Craig will see single coverage away from Herman Moore, so that might be the receiver that has a big day if they're not careful.
And they better bring a guy out of the parking lot to stop Barry Sanders to go with that 8-man front.
And Curtis Conway is not playing, and McMurtry's in. He's a little bit slow, and Waddle was one of Walsh's favorite receivers.
A guy coming out of the parking lot might
Peanut vendor.
One of the Dallas guys driving, right? That'll do it.
It could be Forrest Gump. You never can tell.
Oh, we'll get him. All right, folks. For those of you just getting one of our late games, we'll be right back after this break. That is, right back after this break. The rest of you enjoy your early game. And one other note, a programming reminder that on Thanksgiving, it's the Packers and Cowboys. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern, and you'll want to tune it in at 3:30 as the adventures of Terry and Howie continue. They'll be meeting their biggest challenge yet, Heather Locklear. That's 3:30 on Thanksgiving Day.
How many chances do you have in your life to change the quality of life in your own community? That's one of the reasons American Express card members are continuing the charge against hunger. You can go look into the eyes of people and see that they're doing better. Helped in a real way. Helped by getting a meal. Helped by getting a chance to get back on their feet.
Every time you use your American Express card, you'll help provide a meal for someone who's hungry. So help raise another $5 million, because the charge against hunger is on again.
Another day begins in Europe. And as it does, American Airlines will touch down in 11 European cities in 9 different countries. So whether it's business or pleasure that brings you to Europe, fly the airline that can have you there as early as tomorrow morning. American Airlines, something special to Europe.
Getting bored with just plain nuts? Introducing new Fisher Favorites Tropical Fruit and Nut Mix, a more exciting flavor combination.
Pineapple, papaya, sweet cream almonds, honey roast peanuts, and whole cashews.
Crunchy nuts with juicy real fruit. New Fisher Favorites Tropical Fruit and Nut Mix, the newest Fisher Favorite.
It's Fisher flavor, or it's just plain nuts.
Listen, this stuff that we make, it's powerful. It makes you powerful. Stuff that we make, it's powerful. Take it. Listen. Gather up your ideas. Run with them. It makes you powerful. Just do something amazing. We're in your corner. And we can't wait to see what you're going to do. Stuff that we make. Listen.
The facts.
You can't get AIDS from a toilet seat.
You don't get AIDS from mosquitoes.
We get it from each other.
The estimated number of Americans
infected with HIV,
the virus that causes AIDS,
is equal to the population of
Atlanta,
Cincinnati,
and Oakland
combined.
This deadly disease affects us all. We need to band together in this fight.
Please learn about the HIV test from your local AIDS agency.
Break the silence.
For more information, 1-800-342-AIDS.